This is a video from the HeaterTreater engineering team showing you the repair process on a later model Ford Explorer. Um, so I want you to be able to just kind of get a look at what the dash looks like and what we're going to be working on. First thing we're going to do is remove this center console, and then we'll pull out the control panel in the middle and begin removing the dash. And that will allow us to pull it back a little bit, and what we're really after is to get down to the bottom here, and this is where the actuator motor for the AC system is located. And it's much easier to work on this model if you kind of open up the access a little bit. So there will be some work to pull the dash panel back and allow access to the motor. So let us turn a few screws. We'll get right back to you. The first thing we're going to remove is the center console. This has one screw that sits here under the rubber pad, and then this will come up. And probably the easiest way to get this is to kind of pry up right in this portion here, and you'll be able to lift that up. It's stuck on there pretty good, but it'll come off if you just pry up and out, and then the whole thing will come loose on you. Now I'm removing some of the screws. I just want to show you my new favorite tool if you happen to be a Tim the Toolman Taylor kind of guy. This actually has a swivel on it, and it's actually pretty slick because you can use the angle to kind of get the screw loose, and then once you do, it's a ratchet, and it'll just pull that thing right out. You don't have to have that, just something neat. If you move the seats up on the very back of the center console, there's a little plastic cover that will just snap right off, and then a screw that we're going to have to remove, and there's one on either side of the console. We removed the two back screws that I showed you, and now on the top of this there are 6 screws located here and 2 going into the metal panel. We need to release those. Additionally, there are 2 more screws that are a little more difficult to see, but they're right down here going directly to the transmission tunnel. Once we've loosened those bolts, the plastic will just kind of pull off to the side like this. You'll have to wedge it and wrangle it a little bit. And then I disconnected the different pieces of the wiring harness, and now this piece is just going to lift out for us and get it out of the way. Okay, we're under the driver's side dash. We're going to remove this lower skirt under the steering wheel. There are 2 screws along the bottom that need to be removed, and then this piece will pop out. It's actually on there pretty securely, so you'll probably have some concern about prying hard enough to wedge it out, but it will come out. You just have to kind of gorilla it out of there. Next, we're going to remove the center console cover. This piece is strictly a wedge fit in, so it will pry off. It's easiest to kind of start at the bottom and pull that out, and then kind of work your way up and pull it back. It's takes a little guts to get in and kind of force it to come off, but make sure you don't scar the dash panel any more than required, and then that will just pop right out of there. Okay, we're going to remove the skirt that's covering the speedometer. There is a screw down under here, and if we move over to the other side, there are a couple of screws down here, and then inside the well here there are 2 more screws that go up through the top of the cover. So you want to remove those 5 screws, and then the rest of it is just a wedge fit, and that will wedge off. I've removed the upper and lower cover around the steering wheel. Those are 3 screws that come up through the bottom. They are Phillips, so you'll get the right bit the first time. I've also removed the speedometer assembly. It's got 2 screws that hold it in place. It comes out fairly easily. You do want to be careful with this piece. This is a cable connection to the pernundle indicator. You want to make sure you don't screw that up when you take it apart and pull off all of the various connectors. Each of the connectors, as you've probably discovered by now, have a little bit different scheme to disengage them from the socket, and I can never keep track of it, so I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but you know, they all generally have some sort of a little push tab and pull out, but they are all a little bit different and always fun to try to figure out. All of the work we've done to this point has led us to get to a point where we can get to the actuator motor, and you can see the wire here, and if you put your hand in there you can feel the actuator motor, but you'll see that this piece is directly in the way. So at this point there's a decision that we need to make. We can either pull this entire dash panel back, which will pull back this little piece and allow us to get access to the actuator motor, or for those of us that are lazy, all of this is a plastic piece that goes all the way across. So what I'm going to do is to take a Dremel and just start cutting some of the small pieces of plastic out of this and get enough room to where we can pull this back and get access to the actuator motor. So I'll give you better pictures of this, but I'll disengage these 2 screws on the bottom, make a cut in the middle, okay, and then over on this side we've got a screw that holds all of this in place, so we want to leave that intact, but we will have disconnected the bottom piece here, and then up on the top I'm going to make a cut here, and then make a cut here and here around the radio. And then on this side there are 2 screws that come in from the back side, and I'm going to loosen those. Once I've done that, I've now loosened up the entire plastic structure, and we're going to be able to pull this back enough and hold it out of the way that we can get the work done. I certainly don't think there is any structural integrity impact of doing this. However, this is your decision. It is your car. You can maintain all of the plastic intact by pulling this entire dash panel out, but that's an awful lot of work. This is kind of an easy shortcut and will get us where we need to be. We will come back in after making the cuts and either epoxy or hot glue these back in place. But the only real structural piece is the dashboard on the top here. So we want to make sure that if you push down on this, we still have some base for it.